Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Mafia and Gangsters video. I thought I would mix this one in here since it's been a couple of months since I last touched this series, and it's definitely been a longer time since I've done a regular set of videos for this playlist. But there definitely do seem to be some good views still. I see those popping up, and then also some comments from people discovering my videos, so I might just make this more of a routine now. Let me know in the comments if you want me to continue with some other new videos associated with this series. This one, though, has to do with a twist. For the first time, I'm talking about a lady. In this case, someone that was associated with the world of the mafia and was actually linked to an infamous crew, in this case being the crew of the movie The Goodfellas. So if you've seen that movie, and I know you have, and then you've read the book like I have when it comes to Wise Guys, and then read so much stuff associated with it, this is one of the lesser known mafioso people within that crew, but at the same time, it's a lady. So definitely some good info to share here, along with almost a tragic circumstance associated with her. In fact, you're looking at a picture of her now. Her name was Theresa Ferrara. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that here, and then I'll showcase all the info associated with her life, and then I'd love to hear what your own thoughts and comments are on this too. So here's essentially who she was. Theresa Ferrara was someone that was born right there in South Ozone Park, there in Queens, New York, back on September 5th, 1951. There's very little info associated with her early life, other than the fact that at some point, she moved from her home on Long Island over to another area called Ozone Park, which is located somewhere there in the southwestern section of Queens, New York City. So some of you that know that area intimately, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that specific location. The reason she moved there was because of her very, very good looks. She wanted to pursue a career as a model or as an actress. And it wasn't long whenever she was there, almost like a twist of fate or some other type of happenstance or circumstance, that she came across the mafioso family there, and specifically Tommy Desimone. He was the one, of course, that was infamously played by Joe Pesci within the Goodfellas movie, but in there he was his name was Thomas DeVito, but in real life it was Thomas Desimone, and she became the mistress associated with him. There's a memorable line within the movie when Henry Hill was stating how so-and-so night was for the wives, but the other night was for the girlfriends, and that's essentially what she became. Because of her great looks, she in turn became one of his various mistresses, and then she was able to enjoy that lavish life associated with being with him and then being around that crew, and then of course enjoying everything associated with all those perks and so on. I mean, the movie showcased very excellently just how well some of those perks were in terms of getting front row seats to hot spots associated with restaurants and shows, and then of course having the best of clothes, the best of looks, the food, and so on. So she was able to enjoy that lifestyle there. I don't know necessarily how much she was able to still be a model or actress, but she was there within that family, specifically again the Lucchese crime family, and then there as part of the Paul Vadio crew. What I didn't know, what the movie didn't show though, was this: she actually did a lot of those transactions too, the illegal transactions. In fact, while she was with Tommy Desimone, she was also selling cocaine and then also selling some quaaludes, and that's how she essentially became involved in that type of organized crime. So next time you see the movie and you see her right there next to Joe Pesci's character, remember that besides her pretty look, she was there also selling some items. I imagine that she was probably using her very good looks to sell them to other affluent men or other type of people that would easily say yes to someone like her, and then that way she was able to get some good scores. But all of that came to a head, almost like a fateful head, when it came to this. In 1977, she was actually arrested by the DEA. They caught her selling drugs, and they basically gave her an ultimatum at that point. It was either go to jail or work for the FBI as an informant. To me, I consider that more along the lines of a tragic decision, because even if she would have said no, but let's say the Lucchese family or the Avadio family found out that she was still being, somebody was talking to her from the FBI and offering this. Even if she would have said no, you would have thought that in the back of their heads, they would always wonder, what if, right? Like, what if that temptation is still there? And who knows how easily she would have gotten taken care of afterward. But she actually decided to do work with the FBI and then also become their informant. So secretly, she was working for them while at the same time continuing to be involved with the family. In other words, the Lucchese crime family and the Vadio family and so on. And then on top of that, if it didn't take enough risk on her end, considering, how much of a situation, a precarious situation she was in, she was also planning to take out or steal $250,000 worth of cocaine from Florida from that family. Can you imagine that she was apparently planning this just a year later in 1978. That was $250,000 back then, too. You can just imagine how much that would have been worth today. And so because of that, and then also she was very brazen on another thing, she already had stolen some money associated with the infamous Lufthansa heist. This was that heist that was just briefly mentioned in the movie, but it's described in much more detail within the book, Wise Guys. And there it showcases that heist ended up netting them a whole bunch of money. Well, it turns out that she stole a portion of it, and Paul Vadio ended up becoming suspicious, not just because of that, but also somehow finding out that she was there with regards to the FBI and apparently helping them with some kind of deal that was being busted at a location in Flushing, Queens. It was at a waterfront there. So somewhere along the way, he was becoming suspicious of this, and then at the same time, Jimmy's character that was in the movie too was also someone that was becoming very suspicious of her as well. Not just because of that, but because of the paranoia that he was experiencing shortly afterward. The movie did an excellent job as well of showcasing that, how basically whenever that happened, whenever the heist happened, and then they realized, oh my goodness, this is a huge amount of money, all of a sudden they realized that there was going to be a lot more eyes that were going to be upon them. And so once that happened, then Jimmy's character was thinking to himself, now I got to watch more people. And so because of that in turn led him to catch her, or at least become more attentive of what she was doing, and that was not going to be good. Yeah, that guy, Jimmy Burke, he was definitely somebody that had those eagle eyes right after that robbery and knew that things were on a heightened tension. Well, it all came to a head on February 10th, 1979, when all of those items were coming into place in terms of the people being suspicious of her, and then her transactions and her brazenness. There's one thing when it comes to doing by accident. There's another thing as far as continuing to do it and then escalating things. Well, she was actually called to a dinner. I don't know where exactly this was, but it made it seem like it was one of those, intimate things, like between friends, that kind of stuff. As the movie again mentioned in one particular scene, how the mafia doesn't kill you like out in the open. They do it as a friend. Like they basically do it in a way that you'll be caught off guard and you'll think that everything is a-okay. That must have been the circumstance associated with her. And then probably there was Jimmy Burke involved, and then there was probably Paul Vadio as well. And so when she went to that diner or to that dinner, there was there that she was apparently told the chance that she was there to make an extra $10,000. That must have been the hook associated with that particular evening. Well, she was never ever seen again after that time period. In fact, it took a couple months later, and it was May 18th, 1979, and then that's when her actual dismembered torso was found. It was actually found floating in an area near Toms River there in New Jersey. So imagine this, her dismembered torso. So basically, her head, her arms, her legs, everything was gone. It was just her torso. And the only way she was identified was because of her breast implants. Apparently, they had some kind of serial number associated with it, and it was able to detect essentially who it was tied to. And lo and behold, this missing woman, Theresa Ferrara, was the one that was linked to that dismembered torso. So all in all, just a very tragic set of circumstances on her part, because there originally she moved to that Ozone Park area to pursue fashion model / actress career. But then somewhere along the way, she just became involved with that darker world, the one associated with the crime families and the mafiosos, and then becoming linked to Tommy Desimone, and then furthermore, getting linked to the organized crime by selling that cocaine and quaaludes. All of that led to that fateful day of being caught by the FBI, by the DEA, and then being told to become an informant of the FBI or else. And then lo and behold, she was there in turn trying to steal more money associated from the FBI, and then go, do something else pretty bad, especially with the money from the Lufthansa heist. All of that eventually caught up to her, and then her unfortunate results ended up with her just basically being found in a horrific manner afterward. It gave me the impression, too, that maybe, just maybe, she was trying to steal all that money to escape, like to start a new life, that kind of thing, like to be able to go someplace and then have enough money to live comfortably away from it all. That's the impression I got initially. But if anybody has any more info on that, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, let me know also as well if you want me to continue this series on a continuous basis. And as far as Theresa Ferrara, let me know as well what you guys think. First time showcasing a lady within this series. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.